Welcome back to Kaiyo Collabs, a series where I'm making a beat, reaching out to a fellow producer, and then we're collaborating on a track together and bringing you guys along for the entire process. In this month's episode, I'm working with a producer that I've been watching on YouTube since I first started my journey into music production. So let's jump into this. This is Kaiyo Collabs episode 4 featuring Clofy. I don't actually have the original arrangement file that I wrote for this track. I can only find the fully arranged out song featuring Cloofy's parts as well. But you'll see there's a few things in here that I'm not going to talk about. Those are Cloofy's parts and he'll talk about them in his section of the video. So yeah, let's jump straight into it. So this song starts out with my favorite piano, the original's cinematic soft piano, playing a really kind of nice downward moving chord progression, and this is something that I see Clofy do a lot of, so I kind of wanted to emulate that in the chords that I was writing. So this is how the chords sound on their own. And when I say that's a downward moving chord progression, what I mean is that the root notes of each chord move downwards as the progression goes on, and that's not a strict rule. You can see here we jump back up for that kind of joining chord here. This main kind of idea for the progression is moving downwards through the scale, which again is something that I've seen Clofy do a fair bit. For processing on the piano, I've just got a low cut with a little bit of boost in that middle region just to give the piano a little bit more body and a little bit more warmth. And if you guys have been following this channel, you know the next thing that I added was a drone for some ambience. So I've simply just got a drone sound playing from the Labs Azure piano. This is simply playing the D and the A, the 1 and the 5, a fifth in the scale that we're working in. Just adding a nice bit of kind of ambience to the background of that piano, helping with the layering there is generally how I start all of my tracks. For the intro there, that's the only two parts that we have going on. I've got some automation just helping those two elements fade into the track. Just building up for the first 4 bars. After a few bars, I then introduced a snare sound and a hi-hat. Just to help build the intro to the track. Something that I'm really inspired by with the way that Clofy writes his tracks is layering the elements and building an atmosphere and a really cinematic style track. As that's something that I was sort of going for, knowing that I was going to send this through to Clofy. I then added an ambient ARP that again just fades in. So these first 8 bars are really just building the foundation for the track. And that guitar up is quite subtle in the mix. We've got an EQ on that, rolling off the lows, and as well as some of the highs, because it was quite harsh in that high frequency. And then have a TDR Nova, again, doing some dynamic EQing on those higher frequencies. Just when they peak too much, ducking those down. Have a compressor. Quite a lot of gain reduction on that one, really squishing that sound together. Then an ozone imager, adding just a bit of stereo and a bit of width to the sound. And then I've panned that up slightly to the right of the headphones. At the end of those 4 bars, I introduced a guitar top line that comes in straight away. So all of that together sounds like this. Processing on the top line guitar, I've got an EQ rolling off those lows, compressor there, not doing loads of compression, picking up the peaks 4 to 5 dB, and then an imager, adding a little bit of width but not tons. I wanted that to sit in the middle of the stereo field. And then I've got a bass that comes in also. I actually recorded this bass line in myself. This wasn't MIDI or using any sub bass. This was just played in with my bass. I have another guitar up that comes in at this point here. There's a little break there where the bass cuts out, the guitar up cuts out, and everything pretty much cuts out there for kind of a bar, half a bar, and then we get a different guitar up that comes in. Higher octave this time on that guitar up, and this one is panned to the left. Got an EQ rolling off the lows, some compression. Not doing much at all, less than 3 dB compression, and then an imager again, just adding a little bit of width. That's my usual guitar chain for sounds like this. And that's pretty much all that I wrote for this track. I'm pretty sure I arranged it into something like 16 bars, maybe something like that. And then, yeah, I bounced the stems, bounced the track, and I sent it over to Clofy. I actually reached out to Clofy via YouTube in a comment, and he reached back to me. And I asked him if he wanted to be a part of this series. He very kindly agreed to be a part. And yeah, I sent this track over to him. So yeah, I'm going to pass this over to Clofy, and then he's going to talk through his sections of the track.
All right, what is up, people of the Kaiyo channel? For those of you guys who don't know me, my name is Brian. I work under the artist name of Cloophie. I run a small YouTube channel, and I just make beats here and there. Yeah, Kaiyo sent over a project of his, which sounded great, and what you are seeing here is my attempt of not ruining it, but still adding some things that I thought could be useful for him, and I'll just send it over and see what he decides to keep on. But yeah, let's get into it. All right, so this is pretty much what we're working with here today. I guess what I can do is just go through it one by one, see what he sent over, see what I added, and then just go through that. Okay, so I feel like the bread and butter of this entire beat was the piano, so I didn't really do too much to it. I just added in a little reverb and a little delay, and then this guitar melody that he sent over was really good, so I just added in, it looks like a lot of effects, but it's not much. It's just Valhalla, love filter. So let me take those effects off so that you guys can see what it sounds like without it and with it. That's without the effects. And then now with it. Yeah, so I just thought, the effects I added really helped the melody stand out because I feel like that was the main melody. So I wanted it to sit nicely on top of each other. Bass, really warm, totally my style, so left it alone. And everything else, yeah, I pretty much just left it alone. And then I added in these things. So let's talk about it. So this pattern is using the plugin called Augmented Grand Piano, which is my favorite preset recently. It is called the Orbital Mist preset, and the pattern sounds like this. So if you hear it on its own, it sounds really random, right? But what I was thinking was, I was just kind of playing the parts that the guitar wasn't hitting. So it's kind of like a push and pull kind of thing. So I feel like in the context of the beat, it actually sounds pretty good. Next thing I added was a little bit of a pad. If you know me, or if you don't, I'm a big fan of pads, and I feel like pads are where you can be really creative. So another Augmented Grand Piano preset, this one's called the Water Bow. The effects I have on it are Valhalla. It's a free plugin, so make sure to go check it out. It just really makes your sounds really big, and spacey, so you can turn them into pads. But the pattern sounds like this. And then those are pretty much all the sounds I added. I added a little transitions. Recently, I have been putting a lot of time into drums and drum selection. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't really used to pay that much attention to drums, but recently I feel like it's a really easy way to make your beats have movement and transition throughout sections, right? Because if you look at the thing here, you know, during the break, it's only the kick pretty much. And then you got the snares adding in later, which kind of signals to the listener, oh, right, like this is a new section. So most of these, if not all of these drum samples are from Splice. And let me just play for you guys the drum pattern. So initially, first pattern, it goes like this. On the snare, I don't know, I was just being a little weird. So I have one strong, one weak, alternating. And then you're adding in, or I'm adding in this guitar. I think it's like a tap. I thought it was just a cool textural thing. And then I guess this is like a shaker. Oh, it's a hat. Sorry about that. And then, you know, you got the transition, and then you got the full drum pattern right here. So I'm using this as a hat, but it's actually a snare. I just thought it was a cool sounding thing, so I added it in. Then everything else together. Like I said, the goal for me was, you know, to not ruin the beautiful thing that Kaiyo created. So I just, you know, added in some supporting elements to it, and then did some arranging, and that's pretty much it. Like I said, thank you so much to Kaiyo for having me on this channel. I feel like he's doing really good things. I'm just happy to see another lo-fi producer doing really good. So yeah, thanks for having me on the channel, and peace.
Wow, shout out Clofy. This is sounding so nice. You guys have just seen Clofy breaking down his sections of the track, and honestly, once he sent that back, I really didn't do too much with it. I added a little bit of automation onto the pads just to pan them around the stereo field. Thought that was a really nice kind of way to add some movement to those background elements of the track, and that's pretty much it. Everything else I left as Clofy had added. I really loved what he did with the track and really making it a load more cinematic, which is just something really nice. This break with Clofy's pads, Clofy's keys. So yeah, once again, shout out Clofy for agreeing to be part of this track. If you don't already, go and check out Clofy's YouTube channel. I'm pretty sure he's nearing 10,000 subscribers. So go click that button and get him there. I'm sure it'd be gratefully appreciated. So yeah, go and check out Clofy's stuff. I'm gonna put a link in the description to his Spotify pages and everything else. Go and check those out. Let me know what you guys think of this track. We are super happy with it, and it's actually coming out the day this video drops. You can go over to your streaming service of choice and go and stream this track now. I'll put a picture of the artwork up here and a link in the description as well. So go and stream the track. It will really help out me and Clofy. This is a completely independent release. We decided to do this with no label because we just love the track so much and wanted to get it out there for you guys as soon as possible. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, I did a very similar video recently with Mondo Loops, one of the kings of the lo-fi scene. Go click the video here before this video ends and you can watch that one straight after this one.